Although Tottenham, of course, Carabao Cup finalists.
Yes, so I did watch a bit of the Man U and Man City game on a bit of a rival watch.
I'll tell you what. Sorry, we're on a roll with our segues today.
Yeah,
Can I just say into
blending
different
in.
segments?
It means a
Yeah,
lot
anyway,
more for
carry on.
editing though, because I have to now kind of skip a lot of the wrestling talk, download
yes.
talk to get the end of your presence.
All right.
But
Sorry about that, mate.
that's
Yeah,
all
but
right.
yeah, Tottenham, Carabao Cup finalists.
Carabao Cup. So yeah, I think Tottenham have had a good run in the Carabao Cup so far. First beating Chelsea through penalties, very very lucky, but we'll take it. Then Stoke was the next one, and Stoke.
You were going to play Leyton Orient, but Leyton Orient couldn't play because of the COVID outbreak.
Yeah,
so
we had to make we made it up to them and stuff as well. I would have I would have loved to be able to postpone it so we could give them a bit of a new date to play, but it just in the time constraints, it's quite difficult. But there was that, and then Stoke. I think that was 3-1. I think that was the one where Ben Davies and Gareth Bale scored. So Gareth Bale at the moment, he's not living up to the expectations as much, but it's going to take a bit of time.
The thing is, he's you've already got an amazing team.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's just kind of another luxury cog within that team.
Exactly.
That can be employed.
Mourinho is starting
whenever Jose fancies it.
Yeah, Mourinho is starting to play Bergwijn over Lucas now these days, because Lucas has a bit of trouble trying to find the spaces in order to score, to make a shot. Bergwijn doesn't have as much of that problem. It's just his clinical finishing that is difficult at the moment for him, which that's the one thing he needs to work on. And once he works on that and he can keep the consistency of his findings of space, then I think we'll have a fantastic player in Bergwijn, because he was always the playmaker in PSV, and I think he's got a great build for he's fast, he's quite powerful as a winger, and that's something someone like Jose would definitely like. And then the final one was Brentford. Brentford, they've been quite on a bit of a roll this season, so I knew that it was going to be a bit of a challenge, but I'm glad we got the job done and we're in the final.
Yeah. I mean, and I fancy you, really. I really do, to pick up some silverware.
Thank
you. As good as Man City are, they haven't been as good as Tottenham this season, I don't think, even though the table might not necessarily reflect that.
Yeah.
I feel like Man City have kind of struggled. There's been a few kind of slippery slopes.
Yeah.
Although I've got to say, I was thrilled that my boy John Stones, who's actually my cousin's cousin, and I went to my cousin's wedding and sat on the same table as John Stones' sister.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and I've met his parents as well. He couldn't come, obviously, because football business, Would have been great to meet him, but I haven't had the pleasure to meet him yet. But I've always been following John's career since he played for Barnsley, and the fact that he got a transfer to the fact that everyone was excited when he was due to sign for Wigan at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, he's going to go to Wigan, Premier League team, really cool. They ended up signing for Everton, then becoming an England international, and then playing for Man City.
I know.
And becoming the most expensive English defender in the world up to until Harry Kane happened.
Harry Maguire. Yeah.
Harry Maguire, sorry.
Yeah.
We're all very thrilled,
Yeah.
And it's always great to see him score, because he never scores as well.
Yeah.
But he got the first goal against Man United.
It's weird to see, because one of the more frequent scorers for us last season was Alderweireld. I think he scored a few from set pieces and things. I want to just go through this list at the moment. Just I saw this tweet the other day. It was saying players you rate from the Big Six. So I don't know whether you would agree or not, or you could pick one from a bit of each from the Big Six of players you rate. So from Chelsea, I've picked Mason Mount. I think
he had a blinding start last season, but then he kind of went anonymous a bit in the middle.
Yeah, he's always he does have his inconsistencies, but I think overall he's a well-rounded player. Yeah. So I think he's a good asset
Olivier
for Chelsea.
Giroud is the name on that list, and I think even though what is Giroud now? Like 32, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
He's still quality. I
Yeah.
feel,
Oh, yeah.
and I feel like, everyone's says, I get it all. We get it all the time. Everyone says, oh, if only Olivier Giroud and his form hadn't dried up, we would have won the league in 2016, and he cost Özil's assist record, and I always thought he was quality, Giroud. He had his off days, but then again, I feel like Aubameyang has had plenty of off days this season. No one seems to be
Yeah.
giving him
I
stick.
think there's only been like 2 matches, or 2 or 3 matches, where Harry Kane and Son haven't been the best. Like they've been like 6 out of 10 on the field, and that was against Liverpool. I don't think they were as clinical and as tip top as they could have been
And
previously.
Giroud is probably arguably responsible for the greatest goal ever seen at the Emirates, which was that scorpion kick versus Crystal Palace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable goal.
Yeah.
And it was so typical Giroud, because he kind of missed a straightforward chance beforehand, and then he came up with that. But
To be
I always liked Giroud.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very unfair sometimes the way Arsenal fans treated him.
Yeah, to be honest, I probably could have put Ben Chilwell in there for Chelsea, because I think he's a quality left back as well.
Yeah.
For Tottenham,
Ben Chilwell went to another connection. Ben Chilwell went to the same school as me.
oh, did he?
Same upper school.
Wow, lovely.
Yeah.
All right, Tottenham, I've put Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, because he has just been a fantastic revelation in our side this season. He's just been probably, I would say he's been like the best signing we have had this season.
That's really interesting, because he also had a bit of a shaky start, didn't he? Then he kind of.
That's one thing I could probably talk about as well, was that sort of injury he had in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, where I think it was De Silva got red carded for it, and basically he studded his shin, and I think he cracked his shin pad in half and got to his leg, and it was blood all the way down
So
it.
is he injured?
No, I think he just needed to be patched up, but Jose didn't want to risk injuring him, so he brought him off for Tanganga, because it was quite late into the game anyway. But Emile Højbjerg almost sort of pulled a Kepa in that sense, where he's like, no, I need to come back on. I need to come back on. But Jose was just like putting his arm out, like, no, you need to rest. And he was like, okay, fair enough. Arsenal, I put Gabriel. I think it's hard. So I know I'm not saying this as a rival, but I'm saying it is hard to rate Arsenal a lot of Arsenal.
Gabriel has he's definitely injected a bit of. I remember he had a fantastic game against Man United at Old Trafford when we beat him 1-0. First time we beat him in about 12 years, 13 years in the league at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous. He put in a fantastic showing. I wouldn't necessarily agree he's been our key player, because we've actually coped quite well without him whilst he's been suspended/injured.
Yeah. I mean,
we are Tag. Thank you for following our channel, man.
Like if the guy didn't say Saka already, I would have put Saka, but I wanted to be just different with my list. Then Manchester City, I put Kevin De Bruyne, because I think this just like there hasn't been like players as important as Kevin De Bruyne in that team.
Kevin De Bruyne is just. I would so love to have him at Arsenal.
He's fantastic.
He is the creative midfielder's creative midfielder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is just like that key.
And plus that goal against, sorry for any Newcastle fans in the chat, but that goal against Newcastle last season, that first time volley, oh my God.
Yeah.
I can watch it over and over and over again.
It's just his set pieces are so good, and it's one of the main reasons why Sterling racked up a lot of goals last season and things. Manu, I think.
Sterling, it's weird with Sterling, because he's still liable to miss. He was the other day against Chelsea when they won 3-1 against Chelsea. He was in a one-on-one scenario with their keeper, clean through, right, and he completely ballsed it up and had to go to the left. They still scored from it, but he could have easily just gone clean through, slotted it away. It reminded me of something like Gervinho would do.
Yeah.
He couldn't score a one-on-one chance to save his life. I'm not comparing Sterling to Gervinho, in terms of ability, because obviously Sterling's far better. But there's definite moments where Sterling, his quality should shine through a bit more.
Yeah.
In certain situations.
So yeah, then I've got Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes. I just think it's a no-brainer.
Well, he's basically put them second.
Exactly.
I can't believe Man United are second.
Have you
with
seen
the
that the
team they have.
gap in the figures for which teams have had the most penalties awarded to them, and they're like in the 30s, while other teams are like in the
Actually, you know
early
what? I've read
20s.
somewhere that Leicester have been awarded more penalties this season than Man United have.
Have they?
It's hard to believe, although I think Man United have converted more of them.
That's
You know,
probably what the
that's
stats
probably
were.
what it is. But they have had an inordinate amount of penalties this season.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything about FA referees or anything, but like it is a bit strange that they seemingly get a penalty every single game.
Yeah. Well, people will say that Mike Dean is favourable towards us, but I have no idea. People just say anything when the
No, Mike
team's
Dean is
losing.
not favourable to you. He just hates Arsenal. Any team against Arsenal, he's just like, yeah. He was the referee during our Carabao Cup final game against Birmingham City, which was one of the worst days of my life.
Yeah, the guy I was replying to said Paul Pogba. Like naturally, Paul Pogba's a good player, but it's just
I wouldn't agree with that.
It's like he doesn't want to be there. You know he doesn't want to be there.
I don't want to go Graham Souness, but I really do think he's their Ozil. He's a luxury player who's kind of turns up when he fancies it, and he had a shocker against us at Old Trafford.
And us as well.
He was completely in Gabriel's and Louise's pocket.
He let Ndombele run circles around him pretty much. I mean, I know it's in Ndombele, and he's like, a lot of people who've been replying to this have been saying that Tottenham's most rated player this season has been Ndombele, and I agree. I agree he's one of them. But I think Højbjerg needs credit where credit is due as well.
You don't think Son's been your key player this season, because he's on another level.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Son wins player of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Yeah, I would say Son is absolutely. Son is definitely another.
You think Højbjerg just adds like another dimension?
Yeah, he basically gets the defense lined up where it needs to be, and he's a big reason alongside the partnership of Dyer and Alderweireld as to how Tottenham have not conceded as many goals in the later half of the first half of this season, because if you take the West Ham game for example, and I think a lot of that was there was scores from set pieces that that got them further up in the last 10 minutes, but overall when we've in that box we've been it's just been a fuck off machine, I call it. The Liverpool game, it was very I think that was the big mess up. We shouldn't have allowed that. We shouldn't have allowed that to happen right at the very end. But it is what it is. Firmino just has this goal out of nowhere with us. I don't know. He's like our Achilles heel, Firmino. So yeah, speaking of Liverpool,
Jordan Henderson for Liverpool, I know. I think I'd agree with that.
I would say Jordan Henderson. There's a reason he's been captain for Liverpool for so long, because he just damn well deserves it. He's like that piece that puts it all together.
I feel like we're alienating G-Dub slightly because he's put !! Lurk in the chat. I take it he's not a football fan.
Yeah.
But we'll move on in a minute. Don't worry. I just want to wrap up with just an update on some Arsenal transfer news, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Ozil might move to DC United. Apparently, we're finally going to get to the end of this rotten saga, with him. And his agents apparently said Ozil's priority is to see out the remaining 6 months of his contract at Arsenal. And what's clear about the deal is it's a challenging one to do and may require compromises from all parties. Well, no shit, really. How are we going to offload this guy who's on 350k a week?
Yeah.
He's not going to be playing for the next 6 months if he stays,
Yeah.
But and then we might bring in Uwar.
Yeah. I think you were trying to get him in the summer, didn't you? But you just couldn't quite get it over the line.
Houssem Uwar from I can't remember who he plays for.
We
went for Thomas Partey instead. Thomas Partey's actually been injured.
It's not Monaco, is it?
Leon. Uwar. It plays for. And then Balogun. I'm really sad about this. Following Balogun, who's our hot prospect, one of our best youth strikers at the moment. He might leave on a free in the summer, and I would really hate that to happen because I feel like the one shining light of this season is that Arteta seems to be building a good foundation for the future and doing something that Arsene Wenger kind of struggled to do, which was build a good team around youth prospects.
Yeah. So
because Emil Smith Rowe has been a revelation since Arteta started playing him, and obviously with combined with Saka, and Tierney, all these young guys in our team. That's really been the only bright spark for us this season.
I've noticed that one of the major weak links this season has been Bellerin, isn't it?
Yeah, he's not the player he was, and he hasn't been for several seasons now. So I feel like I wouldn't mind if we offload him in the summer.
Get a new right back, isn't it? I think probably a good move.
We need a new goalkeeper as well this window because Runarsson, the poor kid, he's just not
rotting on the bench, isn't he?
He's not. Well, he's not cut out for it. He had a stinker against Man City, and I know it's Man City, but there were several easy saves that he made, which ballsed it up.
And you need someone who's a safe backup if the main goalkeeper's injured. Like we had Gazaniga last season, and Gazaniga is still quite a.
Is Richard Wright still playing? Or Stuart Taylor? They're always the two utility keepers that never play.
Who is it? Not Harvey
Rob
White.
Green.
Oh bloody hell, Rob Green. No, we're fine with Gazaniga and Joe Hart, but I would prefer Gazaniga over Joe Hart if I'm honest. I think Gazaniga, when we played Liverpool last season, the game where Aurier gave away a penalty for a foul on Mane, Gazaniga was fantastic in that game because that was when Tanganga was called up for the game, and he played a fantastic game as well. He hasn't really got his feet back since he was injured, but we
are actually linked with a keeper. Sorry to interrupt it. I'm just scrolling down. It says Seni Dieng from Queen's Park Rangers. Never heard of him.
Interesting.
But, if he's a good goalkeeper, then why not?
Yeah.
We were also linked with Emi Buendia from Norwich, but apparently then decided they're not going to sell him. Can't be that good. He's played. He got relegated with Norwich. So Omar Rekic from Hertha Berlin, who's a defender, £900,000, and apparently we're set to confirm it according to the Mail. On January 7th, we're set to confirm the signing this week, but who knows? Yves Bissouma, who plays for Brighton, he's a midfielder, and Marcel Sabitzer from Red Bull.
He's been linked with us as well. He's been linked with absolutely everyone. That guy.
Well, apparently, he could be available. But that's according to a paper that I will not mention on stream. But he could be available for 30 million or less in the summer.
All right. So, along with our transfer rumours, there is like a little bit of a thing that was posted in the Guardian sports section that Jose Mourinho bought a ticket for the raffle organised by Marine. The top prize is to manage the club for a match during a pre-season, and he said, "I am buying. If I win, I cannot do it normally because we have our pre-season," said Mourinho. I was like, "Dude, just I don't know for one match, brilliant. just get Sacramento
that would probably benefit Marine, in terms of exposure and in terms of like local fans buying more tickets and keeping bringing in revenue."
Yeah.
I feel like that could be a great idea, to be fair.
Yeah. But... so there's Jose's interested in signing Eder Militao from Real Madrid. That's one rumor. And keep in mind these could be completely bullshit.
It goes to show how little I'm paying attention to like overseas football nowadays. I could. This is typical me, right? I could name every player from like the late '90s, every like international player from the late '90s and maybe late 2000s. I couldn't name you who's like the star player at not Bayern Munich, that's a bad example. Inter Milan or in Serie A or in Spain at the moment. Aside from the obvious.
Yeah. So. The one thing that really excited Tottenham fans was that Daily Hotspur, who's doesn't usually like to risk their reputation of reliable sources and things like that. But they said that it's my understanding that Tottenham are very, very close to signing a big defender. I'm wondering if that is talking about Ramos. I'm not sure.
Ramos would suit Mourinho down to the ground.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, G-Dub, thank you for tuning in, man, and yeah, much appreciated for the birthday messages as well.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And apparently, Michael says that Buendia is an outstanding player. I mean, I like I said, I'm really, I don't really pay attention to the Championship that much. Sorry, Michael, I must admit. But yeah, so yeah, lots of news floating around for both Arsenal and Tottenham. Then
Yeah, and since Mauricio Pochettino is now part of PSG, now it's you hear all the rumors that Dele Alli is going to go to PSG, all that kind of stuff. But no, I think he's going to stay. He's going to fight for his place at Tottenham. It would be a bit of a bitch move on his part, just to stop working hard to be a part of the team, and just go somewhere else. But
yeah.
It depends what he wants at the end of the day. And Eriksen, apparently, he's open to moving back to Tottenham, and Tottenham are the only club that are interested.
Why aren't we in for him? That's what I want to know. I would love to have Eriksen. He would be a good. He'd be, I know he's. I don't think he's a Willian. I don't think he's. What's the word? I don't think he's hit the glass ceiling with his age yet. Christian Eriksen.
I think he's still got quite a few years left in him as well.
I don't want to keep tying over 30s to ridiculously long contracts like we seem to be doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so what other news have we got?
We have got
yes. So just very, very quickly, I was excited to read today that Teenage Wrist are actually going to have released a playthrough video for Earth is a Black Hole, which I'm delighted about because it was my favorite tune of last year, and I've always wanted to learn it, to play it on stream and to learn it. I'm so anticipating. I was hoping actually tonight I was going to talk to Bees about the Teenage Wrist album, Earth is a Black Hole, which is going to be released in February as my most anticipated album, but he didn't have that on his list, so that's why I chose Foo Fighters instead. But if the last tune, No Son of Mine's anything to go by, I have a little bit of hope, but it feels like the same hope that I don't know that
Concrete and Gold
Sam has at West Brom in keeping him up.
Yes, you mean John Prescott?
No, my favourite nickname for Sam Allardyce that I saw in the Discord actually, my Discord was the Count of Monte Bisto.
I just call him Sam Prescott.
Sam Prescott.
Because he just it looks oddly like John Prescott.
I know.